What's going on, y'all? Gamers Goon here today with your Premier League predictions for the season. And we will be doing this throughout the Premier League season. Later today, you can expect another video. These are usually going to come out on Tuesdays, I believe. I think that's what I've determined. And that's going to be GG Talks, the Premier League. So we will go over the match days, who I think will win. But that's not for this video. This video is where I think everybody will finish. And then there'll be another video out later today, obviously with Man City and Burnley going at it. And then my Arsenal Gunners are going to be playing tomorrow morning at 6:30 against Nottingham Forest, who just picked up a former Gunner in Matt Turner. But let's start it off right here. We're going to go to the relegation spots first. We're going to go in reverse order. So we're going to go from 20 down. I think Luton Town is going back down. I know the story there with Luton Town. Obviously, they have that very small stadium. They basically have to go through a guy's garden in order to get to the stadium. It's gonna be interesting seeing some of the big teams like an Arsenal, like a City, like a Chelsea go to Luton Town. But unfortunately for them, I think they're going down. I just don't think they've done enough in the transfer window to really compete, and B, I don't know if they're ready. I think they're a team that a lot of their signings didn't really, I don't think, set them up to stay in the Premier League. I think they're gonna have a solid season getting back up in the championship because a lot of their signings don't really seem to be the kind of caliber of players that are going to help elevate your squad in the Premier League this season. But we're going to start with Luton Town down at 20. And at 19, I think we'll go Sheffield United. They also are a newly promoted team. For similar reasons as a Luton Town, I just don't see them doing enough. They did pick up a former gunner in Austin Trusty, but I don't necessarily think that's enough to keep you up in the table. But good for a Trusty. He gets a starting Premier League job. But unfortunately, I do think Sheffield is more than likely going back down next season. And another team that I think could set up themselves decently for the championship, but I don't think that they're Premier League bound. And then this is the one that I've been debating the whole time. I've never really had Burnley here as a relegation team. But I've been looking at it. I've been trying to think who really realistically could get relegated. So the teams, obviously, for me, in that debate would be Everton, they would be Bournemouth, and they would be Wolves. To me, I think all three aren't that great, to be honest. I just really don't see with how I believe Neves left Wolves this transfer window. I don't really see how Wolves are going to stay up. So we'll have Wolves get relegated. 17th, I think, is going to be Everton scraping by yet again. That's been a thing with Everton is they just continue to barely stay alive in the Prem. Then we're going to go Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth is probably around that 16, 15 spot again. Then we're going to go with, I think we're going to go Burnley here. We're going to go Burnley above Bournemouth. I do think they'll be about 6 or so points ahead of relegation. I don't necessarily think they're going to be as close as Bournemouth and Everton, but I think Burnley still be down there. Then we're going to go with, do I want to go with Forest here? I think I want to go with Forest. We'll go with Forest here. So 17, 16, 15. Forest will finish 14th. And 13th, I think we're going to go with West Ham. Obviously, they lost one of their big players in Declan Rice. They lost their striker. And they're going to be needing to make moves. I know Florian Balogun has been an option for them. Obviously, Arsenal striker there from the United States, the U.S. men's national team striker. But I don't know if he's going to end up going to West Ham. He might be going to Monaco. He could be going somewhere else. Who knows with Balogun. But for right now, we're going to have them sitting there at 13th. 12th, I think here's between a team like Fulham, Palace, and Brentford. I'm going to do Brentford because they're going to be down Ivan Toney, I believe, until January. So I do think that will give them a little bit of a hit. They also lost their starting goalie on loan. We did not buy him at Arsenal. David Raya. He's going to be the Arsenal's loanee for the season with an option to buy for $27 million next season, but he is on a season-long loan at Arsenal. So Brentford, unfortunately, I think they're going to slide down a little bit. Had a solid season last year, but I think without Ivan Toney, that's really going to hurt them. Next, let's do. I think Palace or Fulham's going to finish higher. I'll say Fulham or Palace will be 11th. We'll put a Palace at 11th here. And both of these could switch, to be honest. And we'll do Fulham at 10. Both of these teams could easily switch in which one is ahead of the other. But I think that is fairly accurate in what the higher mid-table is going to be. Then we got a bunch of teams that I think could actually compete to move up. Brighton, they are trying to sell Moises Caicedo. Chelsea and Liverpool being the two teams. Liverpool made a $110 million bid, and I believe Caicedo will not be going there because Chelsea's still in the running, and I think Caicedo is holding out for Chelsea. So I don't know, but I think Brighton, they're another team that I think could just hang around, but we'll have them at 9th. Wouldn't be surprised if they finish a little bit higher than that. But all these teams seem legit. You got a Champions League, Newcastle, first time in a while. Arsenal, first time in a while there in the Champions League. Villa's going to be playing European football. Tottenham, maybe, could be that. So we got 12, 11, 10, 9. So whoever is in this group is going to miss out by just one game, or not one game, but one spot of European football. I don't know if it's going to be Chelsea. I kind of want to put Chelsea or Newcastle here, but I think Newcastle will finish maybe like in the Europa League spot. We'll do Tottenham. We'll do Tottenham here at 8. Missing on European football once again. They did sell Harry Kane. Waiting to be officialized, but I'm fairly confident he is heading to Bayern Munich. So we'll have Tottenham there at 8, maybe even Brighton ahead of them. Do I want to put Brighton ahead of them? They're losing Caicedo. They're losing Harry Kane. Yeah, I'm gonna move Brighton ahead of them. Harry Kane was such a vital part of that team. We'll have Brighton finish 8 and Tottenham finish 9th. The Europa Conference League. I like what Villa did this window. I really do. I think all these teams could legitimately compete for a top 5 finish. Chelsea's the only one I don't think can get into the Champions League. That's why I said top 5. I think all these teams are going to be having good seasons. Liverpool, they still need a little bit of a midfield. If Caicedo's not the answer, then who is? So we might have them suffer a little bit. Maybe we put them in the Conference League. But something's telling me with increased games this season that Newcastle is going to struggle a little bit. We're going to have Newcastle at 7th. We'll have Liverpool at 6th. We'll put Chelsea at 5th. And then that leaves our Champions League teams. Do I want Villa in the Champions League? I don't know if Villa makes the Champions League. Maybe we'll do Chelsea here then. We'll do Chelsea there, and we'll put Villa at 5th. We'll do that. And then we got United in 3rd, and it's Arsenal and City for 1 and 2. And I will actually surprise you. Everybody's saying City's going to win it all. This year, let's give it to Arsenal. Let's do something different. Everybody's picking City to win. I'm going to pick something different. So that is my final predictions heading into the Premier League season. I'm excited for tomorrow with my Arsenal Gunners doing their thing. We should see a decent starting lineup out of them. I expect something very similar to what we saw last game out of Arsenal. Obviously, the 3 big signings have all been playing fairly well for Arsenal so far in all the friendlies with Kai Havertz. Obviously, you got Jurrien Timber and Declan Rice. All 3 of those guys have looked solid. Jurrien Timber looks like potentially the steal of the window. So I think for now, I will have Arsenal here. Obviously, there's some sales and stuff that are still waiting to be done with Arsenal. Could they go in on Mohamed Kudus? Obviously, that's another target there. I've heard some rumors about potentially a striker with Gabriel Jesus being out at the beginning of the season. Just brought in David Raya. And then obviously they're still in talks. I don't know how likely it is, but I know that the party negotiations have opened back up. Not with the teams they were initially doing it with, but I believe that party's still being shopped, but not necessarily a now move that you need to do right away. And then obviously Arsenal sent out one of our midfielders, who I think will be a crucial part. Charlie Pitino, he's heading out to Swansea for the season on a loan, and he will be back next season. But I'm excited for the season. I'm excited. Let's get started. Come on, you Gunners.